Okay, are we live? Yes, we are. All right. Well, if you're watching this back later, my name is Luke. Welcome to, we've done live streams before, but welcome to the first of a sort of refreshed, newer type of live stream. We're going to do bits and pieces, kind of sections. And so there are going to be basically three parts. The first part is going to be we're going to talk about some questions that you guys have asked in the comments recently. Then we're going to look at some quotes, and so through that we'll actually learn some expressions, learn some words, and then if we have time, we are going to play some games together. We'll see how that goes. I don't know if that's something we're going to do long term, but at least we'll give it a try. We'll see how it goes. I have no idea. It's just something I thought I would try. I did a poll, and it seems like quite a few of you guys thought it would be interesting, so we'll try it. We'll try it. Why not? I can't think of any reason why we wouldn't. If you don't know who I am, my name is Luke. I'm an English teacher from America, and I have been teaching for a long time, and I've taught kind of all over the place. I'm also a teacher on Udemy. Apart from here on YouTube, I teach courses, full courses on Udemy. So if you're interested in learning more seriously, improving your pronunciation or whatever, you can check out those courses: pronunciation, fluency, expressions, common phrases, things like that. So we'll just wait for a few people to come into the stream before we get started. This is kind of a new setup I have. I don't know what you guys think of this. Free English 99 or free 99 English. Stream was offline. That's weird. Yeah, hopefully no one else has the same issue. Mine is showing me that the quality got reduced a little bit because my said that my my internet connection was a little slow, but that doesn't make sense. I have very fast internet. Let me do a quick internet speed test before we get started. Hey, free 99. Are you a native English speaker or are you an English learner? I have the sense that you're a native English speaker. Yeah, it is a little slow. What's up with that? Download speed is only 14 gigabits. A what? Oh, 2020. That's not, well, that is not great. I mean, normally I get 300. Hey, Eric. Eric's here. Good to see you. Good to see you, buddy. Upload is 7. Yeah, that's pretty slow compared to what I usually have. Something like 20 maybe. I don't know. Well, I'll try to get it sorted. Anyway. So, from Canada. Okay. What are you doing here? You're not the target audience. Get out of here. No, you're welcome to be here. I don't care. Maybe you can help me. That'd be great. We could do a live stream together someday maybe. Lagging now. Dang. You know what? What if I just open my door? Let me open the door. Give me a second. Let me see if that works. That would be crazy if the door made a difference. My door is made of lead and plutonium. I don't need these. Shout out from Philippines. Hello, Jinky. Hello. All right, guys. Well, hopefully that's better. If my sound is off or anything like that, just let me know. Kind of figuring out the technical quirks of this new setup. Lag seems fine now. It's the plutonium door. My door is made of heavy metals. I don't buy doors anywhere below 69 on the periodic table. It's my rule. How do I do what I do? I don't know, man. I'm just figuring it out as I go. So this is the plan for today. Okay. Now I used to do these live streams quite a long time ago, sort of just free and open Q&A videos, right? We're going to be doing it a little bit differently. I'm going to be answering some questions that I've actually picked out from previous videos from the comments, and I'm going to be talking about those for a little bit, and then I'll answer any questions you guys have after that. And then I want to look at some quotes that I've prepared for this stream, and we'll see how that goes as well. Some interesting ones. We'll talk about what it means. We might learn some expressions, some words, some idioms, some phrases, and then maybe we will play some games. Maybe. All right. So, first question. First question is from, and I'm not sure if the name is pronounced correctly, Bayamara. Bayamara. I'm not sure if that's right. So the question goes, how do I use the passive and active voice? That's the question. It's a good question. So, passive and active. Passive and active. I don't have a way to make notes on the screen yet. I might figure this out eventually, but passive voice is a way of organizing a sentence. An active voice is a way of organizing a sentence. And you may have heard, maybe your English teacher in middle school said, never use passive voice. Don't do it. Well, actually, I don't think that's right. That's not quite accurate. If you never use the passive voice, you're missing something. You might miss a chance to express something in a certain way. Okay, so I'm going to explain what each one is, how we organize each one, and then when we can use each one, because it's a really good question. Okay, so what is it? Well, in a normal sentence, we have what we call a subject. The subject is what the sentence is about, or who the sentence is about. For example, I, right? Or tomatoes, or whatever it is. And then we have a verb, and that's the action, right? So throw or run or jump or whatever it is. Then we have the object. The object of the sentence is the one that's receiving the action, the thing that's getting the action, right? So if I throw a tomato, maybe to a person, then I am the subject, and throw is the action, is the verb. Now, normally we say you should do subject, verb, object. When you're writing, when you're speaking, that's normal English. But sometimes you'll hear it the other way around. I'm going to give you a couple of examples, and then again, we'll talk about when we should use each one. So let's make a simple sentence, okay? Aaron, this is a person, left the TV on all night, okay? Aaron left the TV on. Okay, so left the TV on. Okay, the TV is the object. Okay, Aaron is the subject, and the verb is to leave it on. On is added after. Okay, now that's the normal structure of the sentence. That's how it normally works. But what if we flip it around and we start with the TV? So we would say, the TV was left on all night. We could put the time in there. Then if we wanted to, we could add by Aaron. The TV was left on all night by Aaron. Now, which one is actually better in this case? Aaron left the TV on all night. Aaron left the TV on all night. Or the TV was left on all night by Aaron. Actually, in some cases, the second one might be better. Because if we're focusing on the TV, maybe we don't care who left it on. Now, if this is a story about Aaron and how lazy he is and how he never, does what he's supposed to do, then yeah, okay, maybe we'll say, and then Aaron left the TV on all night. But if we're talking about the TV, someone's angry that the TV was on all night, it makes sense for us to start with the TV. And if we really don't care who did it, then we might just delete Aaron. So then we'll say, the TV was left on all night. The TV was left on all night. And that actually might be better if we're focused on the TV. And that's passive voice. So you'll notice for passive voice, we will often delete the subject or the one who did the action. We'll just get rid of it, especially if we don't care who it is. If it's Aaron or Fred or Wilma or whoever, doesn't matter. Just get rid of it. Delete it. So the TV was left on all night would be probably, in this case, better. Okay, let's try one more example. One more. 3 men robbed the bank. 3 men robbed the bank. Okay, so 3 men would be our subject, robbed would be the verb, and then the object would be the bank. That's a simple sentence, right? Subject, verb, object. If we change it around, then it's what? The bank, right? We take the object and we move it to the beginning and make it the new subject, was robbed. Then if we want to say the subject of the sentence, by 3 men, okay? So which one should we use? Which one is better? Well, it really depends on what we're talking about. If we care more about the 3 men, maybe they're friends and it's a story about them, we're talking about them, then we'll probably say 3 men robbed the bank. But if it's a story about them, then actually we won't say 3 men, we'll say this person, and that person in the story. Their names robbed the bank. But if we actually say 3 men, then it's probably going to not matter who they are, and instead we care more about the bank. Maybe in a news report, for example, you say, or you'll hear news people say, the bank, or a bank, or whatever bank, TD Bank was robbed last night. Was robbed last night. That's enough. You can stop there. If we know that it was 3 men because we saw the security camera footage, the CCTV footage, then we can say, the bank, TD Bank, was robbed last night by 3 men, wearing Hillary Clinton masks, whatever you want to do. They robbed the bank, but we care more about the bank. Okay. If that part doesn't matter, if there's nothing special about the 3 men, they're not wearing something weird or doing something out of the ordinary, and we really don't care, then it's probably better to say, TD Bank was robbed last night. And that's it. And stop there. So when is the passive voice better? When the object is more important than the subject, and we're maybe telling a story about the object. Often, you'll hear it in the news. When is active voice better? Well, usually, because usually we're talking about a subject, and usually we're talking about who's doing the action. So as a general rule, you want to probably use the active voice, but when you're ready to talk about the thing that had something happen to it, use the passive voice. And that's how it works. So, any questions, guys? Any questions about active and passive? I think it's a good question from Bayamara. I think that's how you say the name. Bayamara. It's a very good question. I like it. All right. Guys, if you have any questions as we go along, go ahead and just ask in the chat. And I will certainly I'll try my best to get to them. I don't know if how do I do this? The comments thing is kind of new. I'm figuring it out. Okay, I want to talk about one more question, and then we'll get to some other stuff, and I'll answer your questions. But another question from the comments. So I usually read the comments from the previous videos last week, the week before. I read all the comments, and sometimes there are some really good questions, and so that's why I'm talking about these because they're, I think, really important questions. And we have to know these things as English learners so that we can make sure we're using the language accurately. We're using it well. Get a small drink of water if that's okay with you. Okay. So next one. Doran. He always comments on Facebook. I noticed that. You guys can follow I have a Facebook page as well. Facebook page is, I think you can just search Cloud English, probably. If you go to Facebook and search Cloud English, you can like the page. Oh, by the way, since more of you guys have joined now, if you are interested in taking more serious courses or anything like that, you can check out my courses in the links in the description of this stream. You can click on those, and then you'll see a coupon underneath. I think right now it's maybe YouTube 2019. It'll give you a big discount on the courses, so you can check that out. And I have courses on things like pronunciation, fluency, expressions, customer service. Lots more to come this year. I'm planning to put out several more courses this year, so make sure to check those out. And also, there's stuff for sale beneath the videos if you want hoodies and t-shirts. I actually have a couple of them. I'm not wearing one right now. I should next time, but they're very, very comfortable, especially the hoodie. Very comfortable. Very comfortable. Okay. I'll wear it for the next stream. And I'm going to also probably do these a little earlier in the day when I do them. And hopefully that will be a better time for people. We'll see. Easier moderation. I'm just checking the stream really quickly before I talk about the next question. Seems to be okay. The stream health is good. Yeah, all right. So I want to get to Doran's question. I'm going to be talking about talking through one more, and then I will then we can maybe do a Q&A if that's good for you guys. So, Doran asks, how can I improve? This is a good question. I really like this question. How can I improve my questioning skills? That means my ability to ask good questions. Now, I'm assuming that this is for things like discussions or maybe asking questions of teachers, or maybe in a group setting like a classroom, something like that. I'm not sure exactly because the question doesn't say. I'm going to assume that Doran wants to ask interesting questions to get a conversation started, to get a discussion started on whatever topic. Now, actually, this is something that's very important as an English teacher. If I'm teaching students one-to-one, often I need to get them talking about something. And to do that, I need to ask a really good question, a question that gets the gears moving. So the first thing is, whenever I think about questions, my goal is to I imagine people have gears in their heads. My goal is to make the gears move in someone else's head. If you ask a question that's a yes-no question, probably that will not get the gears moving, right? That's probably not a good question. If someone says, what year did the Civil War end in the United States? If you know the answer, if you don't know the answer, it's the same. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if you know the answer or not. So, because it won't start a conversation, right? 1865. Okay. I don't know. Okay. There's no way to move forward, right? Now, some yes or no questions work if there's a way to ask why, right? So do you think blah, blah, blah. Do you think blah, 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 right? Do you think do you think drinking several cups of coffee per day is unhealthy? Yes or no? Now, this person might say yes. Another person might say no. Then I could say, though, why do you think so? Why do you think so? So if it's a yes or no question that ends with the yes or no, then it's not so good. But if it's a yes or no question that gets those gears moving in the other person's brain, that starts some thoughts happening, then maybe it's good, because then you can say, well, why do you think that? Tell me why you think that. Give me your opinion, right? Give me your perspective. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. The first tip I would say, and we're going to look at some examples, would be to ask open questions that don't have a specific answer, that don't have an answer that you have to look up, but rather a question that's open, that makes people's brains move, that requires people to think about something and then give an opinion. If there's no right or wrong answer, that's probably a better question, right? If there's a right answer, then how can you have a discussion about something that has a right answer? Boring. So that's the first thing. The next one is to make abstractions. Now, making abstractions means don't limit yourself to exactly what the topic is. If the topic is smoking in public, do you have to only talk about smoking in public? So the best thing to do is to make an abstraction. What that means is you have this thing in the middle, this topic, smoking in public. Think around it a little bit. Think a little bit loosely, as though it's a fuzzy thing and it has other ideas attached to it. Well, what's attached to smoking in public? Health, childhood, raising children, being around smoke in public, running businesses, right? City laws, personal freedoms, right? Because if someone says you can't do that in public, other people might say, yes, but what about my personal freedom? So these are some things that are kind of hanging around that main topic, and we can get into those as well. So if you're trying to find questions, don't limit yourself to exactly what that is, the topic. Instead, think loosely and find the things that are directly connected to it in some way. That's what I mean by make abstractions. Make abstractions. Okay. Next, you want to find subtopics. Now, the word sub means under. So a subtopic is a topic under a topic. So again, if we're talking about smoking laws in public, or let's say just smoking in public, well, one part of that might be specifically laws that we might pass. But is that the only kind of thing under that? No, we might also be talking about other ideas to discourage people from smoking in public places, right? Maybe not a law, but maybe, an advertising campaign or something like that. So there are also categories and topics under a main topic that you can consider. So if your view is a little broader of a topic, then you should be able to find something to ask about. So number one, make sure you are asking open questions, and those open questions should get someone to think about something and give their opinion, and then make abstractions, think around a topic, find related topics, very closely related, and also subtopics. Okay, so that's the second thing. Now, when you are keeping the question open, you have to think about the form of the question, right? So there are a couple. You might ask something like, why? Or why do you think da 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 da, right? Because anytime you ask someone a why question, they have to think a little bit more deeply, right? Why do you think? Let me think about that. Well, and then they have to give an opinion. You might ask a question that starts with a how. If someone has to answer a how question, then they have to explain something, right? How could we, let me think about that. Well, first we could 1, 2, 3, right? A how question. So why questions and how questions. Now, what questions can be dangerous. If we ask a what question, what year was this person born or something like that, it's not good. It's not good. We have to be a little careful with why questions too, because if someone says, why is smoking unhealthy? Then again, I'm just listing things that you can find online. So why ask that question? That's not an interesting question, because we can just look it up online, right? Everybody kind of knows the facts of smoking, and we can just list facts. So it's not a great question. We could say, what do you think, though? Right? A what question could be, what do you think about this? Now you have to be a little bit careful about what do you think questions too, because if it's too big, then people won't know where to start. Okay? So if I say, what do you think about smoking in public? Where do I begin? I don't know. That's a big topic. But if I say something like, what do you think about the idea of giving people certain benefits, like, a bonus on your taxes if you don't smoke in public places? Some specific idea. I'm just making that up. But something very specific. Then people can start by talking about how they feel about that idea exactly. So that's a good way to start. We might say something like, what would you do if, or if you were, what would you do? That's called a hypothetical question. A hypothetical question is a question that asks people to imagine something that's not real, right? So, for example, if you were in charge of making the laws, what would you do? You're not in charge of that, but if you were. So that's a good way to make people really imagine, if I were in that position, how would I handle it? What would I do? So using what would you do if, or if you were, for example, if you were the mayor of a city, what would you do to limit smoking in public places, especially around children? Okay? And then you can answer that question after you imagine that. That can be a good way to begin. How could we? That's usually about a specific problem. How do you think we could deal with this, deal with that? Then you're asking the other person, to give you a plan, right? Explain their plan for how to do that. And the last one, we might ask about pros and cons. Pros and cons. Pros are good things, cons are bad things. So we might say, what are the pros and cons of something? What are the pros and cons of maybe making smoking in all public places illegal? What are the good things about that idea? What are the bad things about that idea? What are the pros and cons? So that's always a good question, because at least you have to answer both sides, this side and that side. So why don't we take these ideas? We've got the idea of asking open questions that make people think or give an opinion rather than a right or wrong answer, or a yes or a no. And we've got making abstractions, thinking around a topic, finding subtopics or topics under a topic or related to it. So why don't we actually practice this a little bit? Let's say our topic, and I would like to see your questions too. Give me your questions. Let's make the topic self-driving cars, okay? Or autonomous vehicles. So a self-driving car is a car that drives itself, right? So let's say that's our topic, and we're going to discuss this. We have a discussion group. We're going to discuss it. Now I'm going to consider my role to be the question asker, not the person who's giving my opinion. I'm going to be the person who's asking the questions. That actually makes things easier for me. I can focus on coming up with interesting questions. Then I don't need to focus on giving long answers, right? Okay. So let's say Hey. All right, let's say what might be the future of self-driving cars, or what would the future of self-driving cars look like? Now, that's a what question, but you're asking the person to create an example. What would this look like? What would the future of self-driving cars look like? Or what do you think the future of self-driving cars looks like? That's better than saying, what do you think about self-driving cars? Because again, someone might say, I don't know. Where do I begin? I don't know. But if I make it more specific, what do you think the future of self-driving cars looks like? That person has to really think about that certain thing and then maybe tell you how they see the future in five years. Okay. Maybe at what point would you trust a self-driving car with your life? Now there you're asking a person to, again, consider something hypothetically. Hypothetical, it's not real. You have to imagine. At what point would you trust a self-driving car with your life? And they might think about the different requirements they would have before they would be willing to take a nap as their self-driving car drove them to work. Okay? What would be your criteria, or what would be your requirements? Okay, you can think about that. That would be one question. What do you think are the possible economic benefits or downsides of self-driving cars? Okay, that would be another one. Now we're talking about things around self-driving cars, right? Or maybe it's not even self-driving cars. If we're thinking around a topic, what might be some of the economic pros and cons? Economic is the adjective of economy. What might be some of the economic pros and cons of automation and AI? AI means artificial intelligence, automation, things like factory robots, maybe self-driving cars, this general category of robots and machines doing things by themselves, right? Automated trucks, for example. Instead of just saying self-driving cars, we might broaden the topic a little bit to all types of automation and AI. Okay, that could be a good question too. Why don't we step back a little bit? We can consider the topic a little bit more broadly. Instead of saying something about cars specifically, maybe we can talk about an important person related to self-driving cars. Elon Musk is the founder of Tesla, right? Tesla is a very famous electronic car manufacturer in the United States. And we might say something like, why do you think Elon Musk has started so many companies? A space company, a drilling company, an electric car company, a brain interface company. He started a lot of companies. Why do you think he's starting so many companies? Why can't he share the load a little bit? Okay, so we're talking about something or someone related to our topic, but not exactly related to cars. Okay, we could talk specifically about trucks. When truckers are replaced by self-driving trucks, when this happens, what will they do? What will they do? And then we can talk about the kind of jobs they might have to get, or anything related to their work or how they make money once they no longer have the ability to make money driving trucks. Okay, so those are some examples of questions we could ask around this topic. And so the last thing I'll say on this is, when you're in a discussion, when you're in a conversation, and you want to be the one asking the good questions, you can relax and not focus on giving your opinion, but then focus on getting everyone else's gears moving, right? Making them think about something deeply and share an opinion or explain something. At least think more deeply about a topic. To do that, you have to be able to find topics around it and ask those open and interesting questions. So that's my answer to Doran's question about how to improve your question asking skills. And if that's not what you meant, Dorian, I answered the wrong thing. Well, I'm sorry. You have to be more specific. All right. So, guys, let's go to some questions. I want to just have you ask any questions you might have. I'm gonna grab a quick glass of water. I'm pretty thirsty, so I'll be right back. Ask your questions, and I'll be back in just a second. Very thirsty. I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty. Okay. Hey, Luke. Regards from Peru. Regards. All right. So, if anybody has any questions at this point, now would be a good time to ask. Pronunciation questions, grammar questions, anything at all. Now's a good time to ask. We can just make this a bit of a Q&A part. So if you're wondering about culture, if you're wondering about pronunciation, if you're wondering about grammar, a simple question about that stuff. Now these live streams are going to be probably once or twice a week in the future, but I haven't found the perfect time, and I don't think the time will be now, usually. I plan to do it a little earlier. For example, maybe Sunday, this is U.S. time, Eastern Standard Time, maybe Sunday early afternoon or late morning. I don't know if that would be good, but I'm still trying to figure it out. I still have a lot to figure out technically about doing the live streams. So make sure you guys still leave questions when you have them under the comments of videos. I'm probably going to be putting out 2 videos a week for a while on different things. Last week's was pronunciation. Next week there will also be a pronunciation video. If you haven't already, make sure you go to my Udemy page. If you're interested in... Hi, Nagma. If you're interested in improving your English more seriously, make sure you check that out. I've got courses about pronunciation, courses about fluency and expressions, a bunch of courses. I have 10 courses. One of them is free, by the way, but you've probably seen most of the lessons in that course. If you've been on my channel for a while, then you probably have seen most of the free course already. But you can still check it out. Why not? Nadine says, how can non-native English speakers think in English? Well, I actually have another video about this topic, but I can answer a little bit. So check out my video page. You'll see a video that's called "How to Think in English." I think that's what it's called. What's it called? Let me see what it's called. What is it called? It's called How Native Speakers Think. And then later there's another one that's also kind of related called How Can I Stop Translating in My Head? So one is called How Native Speakers Think, and the other is called how to stop translating in my head. Both are kind of related, right? So let's talk a little bit about the question, though. I'll give a simple answer. So when I'm speaking, obviously, because English is my first language, I'm thinking in English. And when someone who speaks 2 or 3 languages natively is speaking those 2 or 3 languages, they're thinking in those languages, right? They're thinking, if they're speaking Spanish and they're a native Spanish speaker, they're thinking in Spanish. If they're fluent in Spanish, French, and English, when they're speaking French, they're thinking in French. When they're speaking English, they're thinking in English. When they're speaking Spanish, they're thinking in Spanish. So how do they do that? Well, basically, you have to get to a point where all of the words that you know are connected directly to the things themselves rather than other words from other languages. One of the things that often happens when you learn a language in school is you see a new word and you say, oh, look, a new word. And then you learn the word in your language that's the same as that word. You learn the translation, right? So then as soon as you do that, you've created a link between, let's say, the Chinese word for pig and the English word for pig, which is pig, right? So once you've created that and you've created that connection, all of the meaning is related to and connected to Chinese. So it's like there's your Chinese understanding that you got when you were a kid growing up in China connected to this one English word. And whenever you need this English word, you have to bring the Chinese word with it, which has all of the meaning connected to it. And so when you're listening, you have to be always translating back and forth. When you're speaking, you always have to be trying to find words that are actually in another language in your mind. So the most important thing you can do is start learning words in the target language. So if you can, learn words in English. What I mean is not just the English word, you have to actually learn the meaning of the word in English. So if you're learning the word, I don't know, mistrustful, okay, you probably already know that, but what you do is rather than look up the word mistrustful in a translation dictionary that translates it to your language, instead look it up in an all-English dictionary. And then once you do that, once you look it up in the all-English dictionary, then you'll see the meaning, the definition in English. You have no need to translate it to your language. There's no need. Why do you have to translate something to your own language? You don't. It's not necessary. You may think that for a second, but that's not true. If you understand it in your target language, you read the definition, then you get it. Translating it has no use to you, right? So that's the first thing you can do. And also you have to increase your exposure. So exposure is the idea of opening up the environment of language, the thing that surrounds you, right? If you just learn a couple words, you won't be able to speak the language natively, and you certainly won't be able to start thinking in the language. But if you surround yourself with it because you read every day, because you read English every day, and you watch TV shows every day, and you talk to people as much as possible, and it's part of your lifestyle, then you're going to start thinking in the language. So exposure is really important. You can't expect yourself to be able to think in English if you only dip into the English language a little bit once in a while, right? It's got to be all around you. And that would be the main benefit of having a job where you have to speak English. It's a very effective way to start thinking in English. And people who have jobs in native English-speaking countries especially usually improve their English pretty quickly. Not all areas. Usually pronunciation doesn't improve that way. But at least the ability to think in the target language and the ability to use it more easily without having the lag time of let me translate. Okay, I think I got it, right? That's not a good long-term solution. As a beginner, yeah, okay, I've got to translate the Spanish into English because I'm in high school Spanish, that makes sense. But once you get up to a higher level, just don't do that anymore. Stop and learn all of your English words in English with English definitions. If you're learning Spanish, learn all of your Spanish words with a Spanish dictionary, Spanish definitions. Start watching Spanish TV shows without subtitles if you can manage it. Read Spanish books, get immersed in it. Find an environment for yourself, and you will start gradually improving. Oh, Wallacey is back. And Free is back. Had to pick up your daughter from work. I'll give you a rundown of what I spoke about. I wouldn't want to torture you with that, sir. You can do the playback if you want. I rambled and ranted. That's what I did. I went on a tirade about a number of things. Do you provide any specific courses to improve speaking skills and grammar? Please provide the details on how to join. Yeah, I do. So there's one course actually that's related to whose question? Sorry, let me see whose question that was. Oh, Nadine's question. So I have a course on my page in the link called Building Your English Brain. It's actually really popular. It's one of the most popular English courses on Udemy. You can check that out. Building Your English Brain is what it's called. It's 3 hours long. 3 hours long. And it has exercises and things you can do to improve your spoken English. Beto P.I.C. Are you related to Beto O'Rourke, the goofy politician? Oh, your daughter is a non-native speaker, and she's improving on her confidence by working in Canada. How does that work? I don't want to get personal here, but I'm just curious. If you're a native English speaker, but your daughter is not a native English speaker, just trying to imagine how that would work. I'm curious. All right. Guys, any other questions for now? I do want to look at a couple. I've prepared a couple of interesting quotes I thought we could look at just for fun, and I want to get your opinions on them just for fun. And then we might get to some gaming. So if you guys have any other questions now, let me know. And otherwise, I see. She was 9 when I met her mother. Makes sense. Makes a whole lot of sense now. It's all clear. No more needs to be said. Cool. Congratulations. Yeah, the environment is the most important thing. And having friends who speak the language, being around people who speak it every day all the time, you'll start to pick it up. Watching TV shows all the time, start to pick it up. The interesting thing is people think of learning a language as just learning the words, but it's much more than that, right? Because if I go to Canada, for example, I'm going to miss some things that might be cultural references that you may know that I don't know. If I go to England, there are all kinds of things I miss. People say something and I don't understand what they're talking about. I might know the words, but there's a reference to something in British culture or Australian culture or whatever, that even though we're both native English speakers, in a way, we're not really speaking the same language. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. that when you're learning the language, you're not only learning the language, you're learning the cultural references. That's why when people study English and know it very well and come over to America, they suddenly realize, oh my God, I don't know anything. I don't understand anybody. That's why. The reason is that they don't have the cultural references, things related to movies, things related to TV shows and history and memes and all of that stuff that's specific to, for example, being in America that you can't know unless you really grew up in America or have surrounded yourself with it. All of that stuff is a cultural reference. And that's part of being able to speak a language well within a certain country. So that's why I think it's so important to make friends. If you can, have a workplace. And if you can, even watch TV shows and movies as much as possible. It's a good excuse to watch movies for sure. Okay, well, why don't we? I would like to talk through a couple of quotes that I found earlier this week. I was just looking through some quotes, some famous quotations from famous people, and I found some that I thought were interesting that I thought I could show you guys just for fun. And honestly, I'll be totally honest, because I want to test out this new streaming software and see how smooth it is. So let's do this. Yoink. Okay. That's my computer background. And then do that. All right. So here's a famous quotation by Thomas Edison. I really like this one. I really, 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 really like it. Let me just read it for you. And I want to get your thoughts on it. I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. So, what does this mean? What is this about? The software is called Ecamm Live. That's what it's called. It's not free, but it's pretty good actually. I'm using it for the first time. I understand more when I read, but when I listen to music or when they speak to me, I don't understand. Why? Well, music I don't understand either. I wouldn't use. I don't think music is a good learning tool, to be honest, because people don't speak as they do in music. So I don't think it's a very good tool. When people speak to you, though, different cultural backgrounds, I mean, different cultures and groups of people in a country speak differently, and it's probably going to be the cultural references, probably things that they know culturally or that they grew up with culturally that you're not familiar with, and you have to spend more time with them or learn more about their culture and where they come from in order to start to get some of those things. I have a friend who lives in England, and she's an American. She said, when I first came here, I did not understand what most people were talking about. In many cases. Everyday stuff, yes, but a lot of stuff she didn't understand. In conversations with friends, she felt kind of left out. This is a native English speaker, right? And so after a while, she made more friends, and she began to sort of sink into the culture a little bit and watch more local TV shows, things like that. And she now feels much more comfortable and is able to have a conversation on the same level as everybody else. And so it really makes a big difference. Okay. So let's look at this quote. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Okay, so why did I pick this one? I picked this one. Let me just explain it, okay? If you found 10,000 ways that did not work, that sounds like failure. And from one point of view, it is failure. You failed 10,000 times. But if you're the type of person who looks at the glass half full, I can type this out, the glass half full, then you don't see failure as a negative thing. You see it as a way not to move forward in the future. You have a goal, which is to achieve something. And Thomas Edison famously invented a very long-lasting light bulb, a very successful light bulb, which is, I think, why this picture is here. And so when this doesn't work, it's sort of like you're getting closer and closer to the best solution. So failing is failing in a way, but in another sense, it's one step closer on the path toward success. And I picked this one because I also think as a language learner, you make mistakes and you say things that are strange, and you begin to slowly realize those things. Hopefully maybe you have a teacher who can correct you. You shouldn't regard all of those things that you're not doing well as failures, and then maybe you feel like you should give up, you feel sad. You should look at each one as an opportunity to see a better way forward. And I think that can apply to many areas of life. I've seen what doesn't work. Oh, that doesn't work, and that doesn't work, and that makes me sound weird, and that's not right. So this is helping you to clarify what is right and what is better. So that's why I like this quote, because if you're an inventor or a language learner or someone figuring out live streaming, you are, by just taking some steps forward and persevering, persisting, pushing forward no matter what, figuring out better ways to do things, right? I mean, this is the first time I'm doing this kind of stream. I'll probably watch it back and say, oh, next time I won't do that, and next time I won't do that, and that was dumb. Why did I do that? And that will help me find a better path forward. So in 3 months, the live streams will be way better, right? So I think that's the basic idea, and that's why I really like this one. Things that don't work are not successful. Not successful. Don't focus. I don't think it's about how many it is exactly. I think it's just the idea that each failure is an opportunity to discover something better, a better way to do something, maybe, potentially. All right, next one. This one's good too. This is by the way, this quote by Farrah Gray is the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing now. I read this and I realized, oh my God, yes, that's right. Build your own dreams, or someone else will hire you to build theirs. I think this is very powerful. Build means to create it yourself. I think using the word build here is good because it's saying a dream is not just one giant thing. I want to do this. A dream is made up of many pieces and parts that we have to think through very carefully. And we have to think about what's realistic, and we have to think about what we can do, and what people will pay us for, all of these things. So that's why build is a good word, because you have to look at all of the different factors and sides. So build your own dreams, or someone else will hire you to build theirs. Now, this is not, I don't think it's supposed to be a criticism of people who have normal jobs, right? I think it's fine to have a normal job. But generally speaking, if you have a normal job, you have that job so that you can make money, so that you can live your life, so that you can, feed your kids and buy ice cream or whatever you want to do, right? Well, that's good. You give me money, I do this work, and I can do what I want to do. And maybe I'm building my own dreams over here. That's very good. But I think this is sort of saying, if you don't find your own way forward, if you don't find your own future, then you're going to become just a tool for someone else's future. So for all of the, let's say, I don't know how many employees Amazon has, 60,000 employees of Amazon. You could say that all of those people, they have their own dreams, sure, but while they're working for Amazon, they are basically being hired to make Jeff Bezos's dreams come true, right? His dreams have come true. He's the richest man in the world. He's got a very successful company, a very powerful company. So why is that? Well, he had a clear vision, something he wanted to make. And as that vision got closer and closer, maybe as he made mistakes, he was able to hire other people to do things for him. And I really don't think this is criticizing people who have jobs, because most of us have jobs, right? But I think it's saying that having a job is not the only way to live. For some people, you can maybe start your own thing, start your own company, and not work toward another person's success, like Jeff Bezos, but work toward your own success only. So when I was 24, I read this quote and I thought, yeah, yikes, I should do that. And so I decided that I wouldn't work for anybody else anymore. And I guess I'm still working on that, but I haven't had a normal job since then. And I've been working on, for example, this YouTube channel and doing courses and things like that, because I feel it's very satisfying when all of your efforts are going toward your own dreams only. All of your efforts, your own vision for the future, feels nice. So if you guys have a dream that you're not doing, maybe this quote can inspire you to move closer toward that. I'm not saying quit your job, but think about what kind of future you want to have and what it might look like and what you might have to do to get there. And I think the people who do start to go toward that are usually don't fail. They usually figure out a way to get there. And I can say from personal experience, there is always a way forward. Absolutely. So I think, anyway, I think this one's inspiring. Amazon has, oh my God, I was way off. 647,500 employees. Good God. That's a lot. How many does Google have? Oh, thanks. Thanks, GoCabs. Thanks, GoCab. Surprised emoji. Yeah, I'm curious how many Google has. How many employees Google has. All right, we've got two more to look at. Let's look at the next one. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Okay. Now, I think this one's kind of obvious, but I think it's also good. I like this one. I picked these because I really believe in them. So, do you guys know anybody who doesn't work that much? Maybe they work part-time and they still say, oh, I'm so tired. I just wish I didn't have to, blah, blah, blah. And they always complain. To be honest with you, this drives me crazy. I don't think there's any reason to complain about stuff, right? If you have something to complain about, why are you doing that? You should figure out a way to get into a situation where you don't need to complain. Complaining takes up a lot of energy, right? If you burn 500 calories a day complaining, maybe that's good for your health, but you're not going to be happier, and it's not going to get you any closer to a better situation. So if you just wish, I wish it were better, I wish it were easier, I wish this wasn't so hard, it's not going to get you any closer to anything. Instead, if you try to improve your skills, know more, read more, learn more, practice more, study more, have more conversations, think more, you're going to improve your own abilities. You're going to make yourself more powerful. So if this is the challenge in front of you, then wishing it were here is not, you're staying the same, right? Wishing it were here means it comes down to this level. Here's you, and here's the difficult thing. It's so hard. I wish it were here. Well, then you're exactly the same. Wouldn't it be better if you were here? Powerful, smarter, better, stronger, more emotionally stronger, right? Wouldn't that be much better? So I think the idea is don't hope this happens, just do this and be higher than the difficulty, always. And you'll find that as you get more powerful, you can do more things. And then life gets better. So I like this one. This one's good. That's right. If you keep complaining, you won't reach anything. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Am I saying your nickname correctly? Gossip. 98,000. Wow. So wow, Google is way smaller than Amazon. Amazon has 647,500 employees, and Google has only 98,700. Yeah, don't forget to hit that like button. Very important. The most important thing, maybe. Have a good one. Have a good one. See you next time. Thanks for hanging out. Guys, like button. I mean, really, what else is there? Like, subscribe. Of course. Of course. Okay. All right, we have one more to look at. One more, and then we're going to do something else. Next. Oh, hold on a second. Is this right? Hold on. Give me a second. Yeah? Okay. All right, we're good. We're good. This is a new streaming thing for me. So I'm just testing this out, guys. So they're going to be our first one. They're going to get smoother over time. Hey, I want to say thanks you for helping me improve my English. Upload so much really good content. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's a very nice thing to say. I try my best to make things useful. I'm working on a lot of interesting new videos, and so we'll have those coming out in the coming weeks and months. So I'm looking forward to hearing back from you guys, certainly. All right. Where are we? We've got one more to look at. Here we go. This one is by Mahatma Gandhi, who was he led the peaceful revolution against the rule of the British in India, and was a fan of the Bhagavad Gita, and was a pretty smart guy who enjoyed, I think he enjoyed making his own diapers. All right, so here it is. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. What does this mean? As if we use to say, it's not true, it's not real, but yeah, imagine that it is, right? Let's practice as if we have a game tomorrow. Do we have a game tomorrow? No, we don't. Okay, so as if here means just imagine it's this way, but it's not really, okay? Live as if you were to die tomorrow. What does that mean? Well, if you imagine you're going to die tomorrow, how will you live? You'll probably enjoy as much as you can every moment of life, right? You'll enjoy how food tastes, friendship, every word of a book that you're reading, the smell of the flowers, the feeling of the air, the rain, the clouds, everything that happens. If you're going to die tomorrow, you're going to soak it all up and enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. Live in the moment, right? So live that way every day. You probably, hopefully, won't die tomorrow. I hope nobody dies tomorrow. But if you live as if you're going to, then each day is special. Each day is a very unique and meaningful thing. So that's how you should approach life, according to Gandhi, which I think is a good attitude. That's how you should live. That's your daily attitude. Learn as if you will live forever. Now, what's that about? Well, you're not going to live forever, of course. But if you were going to live forever, you might want to be as knowledgeable as possible, right? You want to gain as much knowledge as you can from experience, from you need to talk? Okay, just close the door. Can you bring me some water, Mushroom? Mushroom's getting me some water. You would want to be knowledgeable, and most importantly, you would want to be able to take from your experiences bits of wisdom, right? I mean, you're going to have lots of experiences through life. If you just ignore those and don't think about them, then you're going to miss everything, and you won't become wiser, you won't become smarter. So I like this quote, especially the first sentence. I think it's a good way to live. I try to read every day because I want to be smarter in the future, and I plan to live forever. It's my dream. That's right. Live in the present, right? Live in the present, but be as smart as possible and learn from your mistakes. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So those are the quotes I wanted to look at. I think those are interesting, right? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm going to take a 10-second break to drink some water, if that's okay. I've been talking for a while. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and just ask them. Thank you, Mushroom. You can leave this door open, but maybe close yours. Or whatever. My cup says Rad Dad. Not used to talking so long. It's okay. A little bit longer. Will you leave a link to take a look at it? Take a look at what? Take a look at what? Oh, you mean this? The live stream? Yeah, of course. I think I'm going to just leave it public and see what happens. I don't know. Pretty new at doing the live streams in this style, in this format, so I might leave it up. I might take it down. Kind of just learning the system, learning how to do everything. So we shall see. All right, guys. Well, we're going to try something else. I thought it would be kind of fun to play a game, so we're going to do that. How do you improve spoken English if you don't have a native speaker to practice with? That's a pretty big question. Oh, the quotes. I don't have links for the quotes. They're somewhere. You can search. I think you just search the quotes on Google and you'll find them probably. Yeah, that's so. Most of the laborers at Amazon are probably people in the warehouses sending out packages. That's a good point. That is a good point. High-tech workers. True. Yeah, Sasha, your question, how do you improve your English without a native English speaker? Generally, the idea is you have to learn to think in English. If you didn't catch the earlier part of the stream, I talked about that for about 10 minutes. So you can go back and watch that part. And also I have some other videos on that topic. But generally speaking, including this stream, you need to build an environment and a lifestyle that involves English every day. You have to surround yourself with the language. It's got to be around you all the time. It has to be something you enjoy, whether it's talking with friends, watching movies, TV shows, reading, writing, practicing. And if you want to find like a language partner, for example, there's one called HelloTalk. You can check that out. HelloTalk is pretty cool. It's free. You can find language partners, HelloTalk. I am not an employee of HelloTalk, so I think it's just a good way to find a language partner. So that would be one way. I've got so many videos on different aspects of that question. So check those out. What about if you play Mad Libs? Oh, Mad Libs? Yeah, we might do that in the future. It's not a bad idea. Maybe we'll do some Mad Libs. No. What I want to do, I want to try something. So I like playing games, and I thought it's a stream, right? So why not stream a game and see how it goes? There's a game I've wanted to play for a very long time because I played the first one, and it's called Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I'll type it out here in the chat. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. It's kind of an old game, but it's really good. And it's got a lot of dialogue, conversations. It's pretty cool. Now, the second one, it's also an old game, but they released a second one, number 2, written like that. And I've been wanting to play it for a long time. HelloTalk is one word, Sasha, one word. I've been wanting to play it for a long time, and I did a poll on YouTube, and I think we had around 100 votes, and I put 4 games up: Minecraft, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. The other one was Overwatch. And then, what was the other one? Oh, World of Warcraft Classic. I love that one. And you guys voted for this one. I think it's a good choice because it has the most dialogue, the most speaking. So we can actually talk about what things mean as we go along. And I think it might be interesting if you don't want to watch me play this game. I don't care. It's fine. Do whatever you want to do. But whatever. We're just gonna talk through it and play it together and see how it goes. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. If my volume is too loud on the game, let me know. I'll lower it. Let me check my headphones. See if the level's okay. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good. All right, here we go. Can you guys see okay? Oh. Play. I'm starting a totally new game here. Yeah, this is a classic. Let me know if the volume is about the same as my voice. Balance them to make sure they're lowered a little bit. Okay. The first one, the story is so good. It's an amazing story. It's an awesome story. Okay, I think I'll put the volume about there. All right. Is that good? Is the volume good, guys? Can you hear me okay compared to the game sound? Game volume is really loud. Really? Okay, I'll lower it.